Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here. What I got for you today is a continuation of Attack of the Clones. Who out there can spot the real X5C on this table? It'll be kind of difficult. Today's review is going to be, in addition to all these others, I'm going to do a review on the 33034 from Mould King. Now, the Mould King, again, is a clone of the X5C, and here's the answer. There's the real X5C on the table there. But this Mould King has additional features that the X5C does not. Most notable of that, it has a headless mode. And it's not just a your normal headless mode where you activate it in the sky in whatever direction it's pointed. It remembers that direction. It remembers the direction that it was pointed when it was originally binded to the transmitter. So if you pick a point, what I'm trying to say here is it can be used as a return to home feature. And let me explain that a little bit more. Let's walk out onto the field. If you pick a point off in a distance, such as that pylon at the other end of the field, and we're going to use that as a reference point, and you bind the quadcopter, you put the quadcopter on the ground, turn it on, and point it in that direction, and bind it to the transmitter, it remembers that direction throughout the flight as the base heading. So if you lose orientation on the quadcopter while you're flying, say you're off in the far right quadrant of that initial heading, all you need to do is pull to turn on the headless mode and pull the stick back to the back left quadrant, and the quadcopter will fly back to you no matter where it's at. Okay, let's take another example. Say we fly off to the forward left quadrant from that base heading. All we have to do to bring the quadcopter back to us if we lose orientation is to turn on headless mode and then pull back to the back right quadrant. An easier way to remember this is, now this does not have a compass in it, this transmitter, but if you lose orientation on the quadcopter after it's flying out there and you want to bring it back to you, all you need to do is simply point your transmitter at your reference heading, and if it's off in that direction, in the forward right, just pull it back in the exact opposite direction from where it's at. Very easy to do. Say it's off in that direction, to bring it back to you, pull it in the back opposite direction. So let me give you some examples of that. Let's send it up. I first want to demonstrate the stability of the quadcopter. We don't have any wind today, so today's a good day to demonstrate stability. I'm also going to demonstrate that this thing has a 150-meter range. That's more than double the range of the X5C, so that's another big advantage of this quadcopter over the X5C. The only difference between this quadcopter and the X5C, it does have an on-off switch like the X5C. It does not have a plug for the camera. So you can't actually use a X5C with it. This quadcopter won't work. There's no plug in there. You have to supply your own camera, such as an 808 keychain camera. Okay, let's go for a flight. Turning on the quadcopter with its on-off switch, pointing it toward the pylon in the distance there, activating the transmitter, binding the transmitter. Let's go for a flight. Trimming the quadcopter. Very stable flyer, just like the X5C, hands off flying. Steve C, are you still out there? There's a little breeze coming up now. Okay, so let's go demonstrate first of all. I got the prop guards on there so you can see it more easily, but I want to fly it out to 150 meters to see if it actually can do that. So we're going down to the pylon in beginner's mode, nice and slow, and seeing what this range actually is. If we make it to the pylon, it does have probably 150 meters. I know that thing's past 150 meters. And we're well past it. We're about at the pylon now, turning. So this thing does have excellent range, just as advertised. Very cool quadcopter, the Mould King. Okay, let's move it off to this forward right quadrant here. Okay, I've lost orientation. To activate headless mode, I hold this upper left trigger button down for 3 seconds until I hear a beep. Okay, all I got to do to bring it back to me now is pull back to the back left quadrant. And sure enough, look at that. One-handed mode too. Isn't that amazing? It brings it right back to me. I had no idea what the orientation was. Now another advantage of headless mode. You can do these. Pirouettes in the sky. Translational pirouettes. You can't do that without headless mode. Let's see if it remembers the base heading. I'm going to turn off headless mode by holding down that button again. Okay, I'm staying in beginner's mode. I'm going off into the forward left quadrant. Way out there, I'll send it out to about 100 meters or so. Okay, I've lost orientation. Letting go of the stick, pressing down headless mode button and pulling it back. And it kind of forgot the orientation. It almost came back. Wherever it's at, just keep matching it. 180 degrees from where it's at. Okay, turn it off headless mode again. There's a wind vector in there. I forgot to mention, if there's wind, a little bit of wobbly there. Turn off headless mode. Okay, headless mode was still on. It gets wobbly there for some reason. I don't know what that was. Maybe it's those prop guards I got on there. Okay, let's try. There it goes again. Maybe it doesn't like those prop guards. I am going to take the prop guards off. Turn off the transmitter. It got a little wobbly there. I'm not a fan of prop guards. Again, I was just keeping these on here just so that you more easily see this thing. Prop guards are mainly for learning your basics of flight when you don't want to break your quadcopter if you're a beginner. Once you can fly without crashing, consider taking those prop guards off. It'll help the quadcopter greatly in its flight capability. Okay, turning the quadcopter back on and again pointing it in the direction of the pylon. Turning the transmitter on. Binding it to the quadcopter. This time we're going to change the mode. We'll go to expert mode by pressing this quickly one time. Okay, that's beginners. That's expert. Let's see how this maneuvers in expert mode. Okay, without the prop guards, it flies much better. It's not real zippy, so you don't look for this as a acrobatic quadcopter. It's not. It has range, and it has a headless mode that you could use for loss of orientation. Okay, let's say we lost orientation again. Now I got a wind vector again, but I'm holding down the stick, pulling back my way, 180 degrees from where it's at, and sure enough, it comes back to me. Just keep matching where it's at in the sky. Turning off headless mode once it's back to me. Now again, this is pretty cool that it really does have a long range, 150 meters like it's advertised. X5C does not. Let's try flipping. I'm going to bring it in for a somewhat high-speed pass and then press the flip button and see what happens. The battery's probably getting low. I don't know what those 3 beeps mean on the flip button. So it's maneuverable. Has a little bit of a wobble, but still a great beginner's quadcopter with a return to home feature. Let's send it off in that quadrant. Headless, activate, pulling back to me, keeping it 180 degrees from where it's at always, and it comes back. Turning off headless. Okay, that battery's probably getting low. I'm going to the far end of the field, see if I can make it there and back before I lose the battery. Here it comes. Okay, that's a flight of my Mould King 33034 with extreme range, 150 meters. That is extreme range for these toy quadcopters. Let's bring it in before I lose battery power. Oh, too late. But again, extreme range quadcopter is still in one piece. I should have brought it in instead of going out for that last long leg flight. Return to home headless mode. That actually works. And I have not demonstrated flips yet on this. I will in a future video. I'm sorry I didn't get to it yet before that battery died. Okay, hope you enjoyed that flight. That's Quadcopter 101. Let me wipe off this blade, get some of that dirt off there, with the Mould King 33034. Hope you enjoyed the flight.